And welcome to another episode of the Motor City Metrics podcast here at TigersMLReport.com. I'm Rahel Castillo. Beside me is Ashley, Mike, and Uper. Chris Brown is power washing, or I'm sorry, he had his son's end of the year summer party. He might be along with us. But we just finished up our top 46. We did a Patreon. So if you go to our Patreon, you find the list there, find it right up. And we're starting to draft coverage. Ashley's been hard at work working
on an article.
Yeah.
Well, not this week because I was deathly sick, but
yeah, no,
you work in honor of Wenzel Perez.
Pardon me?
Is 46 in honor of Wenzel Perez?
46. Maybe. No, it's a 45. No, it's 45. I'm sorry. Did I say 46? I'm sorry, 45. 45.
Oh, okay.
45. So that I know. So, and Ashley, I think you should know when we were doing our list, we were kind of going back and forth about who had what, and about the respective other lists we had. So, one of the guys I mentioned, or I think you had what, 30 or 40 guys, Ashley, right?
I think I did a top 30.
Yeah, top 30. So
yeah, top 30.
Yeah, I like that because I was in the same boat as you. I was just like, after a while, I was like, well, after 25, it gets kind of a little dicey. But
you're like, yeah, don't really know.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question quick?
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to ask Ashley just for fun. Mm-hmm. On opening day of the 2026 baseball season, if I told you that we're going to be on the air on June 11th, the Tigers are going to be 29-40, and we're going to be kind of upbeat about it, what would you have said?
What the? How did we get there? Would have been my reaction.
Exactly.
What happened?
It's hard to believe we're actually optimistic right now, and they're 11 games under 500.
They've had, it's nice that I feel like we're back to a place where watching the full game doesn't feel like a chore. And like, if they're behind, it's like, they still might come back. Like, you know what I mean? Like it makes it a lot more enjoyable to watch.
Exactly.
So Mike, are you, I know that for you, this has to be typical, watching Cardinals baseball where the Cardinals are always recently the struggle to watch. So I'm sure you're used to this roller coaster type baseball.
I mean, hell, they've been above 500 all year, man. So it's weird. They finally sold. I don't know how to explain Cardinals baseball. They finally admitted to a rebuild, and they're 8 games over 500. No, but Cardinals, they're always in it. It doesn't matter what your record is. It's just we're looking towards the future. It's fine. Yeah, no, they never wavered, and there was always pretty high confidence, and for good reason, man. Just saying, always in the playoffs.
Yeah, and the Cubs have fallen way back down the earth. But let's talk about the Tigers. The Tigers spanked the Twins today, 11-0 behind another strong start from Kyle Montero. And we're going to get everybody's thoughts about the 6-man rotation ideas. We're going to get into inside numbers a little bit tonight. And I did want to talk about the home runs in June. The Tigers are now 7-2 in the month. They've won 3 straight series. They head to Cleveland to start a 3-game set tomorrow with Flaherty on the hill, and then the return of Tarek Skubal on Saturday. And so it's a big series for the Tigers because after this, they will head to Houston, and Houston's kind of had their own fair share of issues with their rotation. But this was an interesting series. The ball was flying out of the ballpark. They hit 6 home runs today, right? Yeah, 6 home runs. And Cole Keefe got off the slide with his first home run of the year, and the amount of jubilation was fantastic to see. And I'll start with you, Ashley. As far as what you see, what are the 3 things that you saw in the series that kind of really kind of swayed your opinion about the Tigers in this month, comparatively speaking?
I will say, first and foremost, slug, right? I feel like just in the month of June so far, I don't know if anybody has this in front of them right now. I don't know how many home runs they have so far in the month of June, but it seems like all of the sudden, they just started slugging out of nowhere, or more so than they had been in prior months. But I will say also defense. I feel like the defense looks a lot cleaner. Not that they're not making any mistakes at all, but the defense looks a lot cleaner. Kevin's made some really good plays at third. I just feel like all around, like, fundamentals look better. Taking extra bases, everything looks better. 23 home runs in June. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know how many they had in May, but I'm assuming it wasn't even that many. And we're 11 days into the month. They look like a different baseball team, and I don't know if it's from the momentum of having Glaber and Carey back, or I don't really know what it is, but they look like a different team.
So the Tigers had 18 home runs in the month of May. 18.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Well, go ahead.
And we're 11 days in, and they have 23.
Yeah. And and this is Stingler. Ted. Yeah, this is Glaber stabilized the entire lineup. Mike, what about you? What are the three things that you saw in this series?
Well, I feel weird to be like the pessimist a little bit, but I'm a little worried. I'm not like trying to get too high on everything. And it's because at first, like really when they swept that Tampa Bay series, I was like, oh my God, they're right back in it. It doesn't matter. But when you look at like the sheer numbers of things, if the Tigers were to win every single series that they have the rest of like going into the All-Star break, they still would not have a 500 record. They would be 48 and 49. So I'm going to like pump the brakes and say like they're going to be this great like playoff run in them. I mean, obviously the home runs are huge, but I think one of the biggest things for me, seeing them bounce back in that Seattle series, they lost 4-0. They completely went silent offensively. They had 2 hits, 5 walks, but 2 hits. We had one from Kevin McGonigal and we had one from Colt Keith. It was an awful day offensively. And we had seen, obviously, them do this for an entire month. And I was a little worried that there would be a little bit of a hangover from that. And I was a little worried that they would maybe be like, oh, man, it's coming back. But instead, they just jumped right out and they took the rubber game in the next day. And I just thought them bouncing back from that and then winning the series after that as well. That was huge for me. I'm really just trying to react to what the season brings. And when the season brings you a terrible 4-0 loss, when you're 100 games under 500, it feels good to see them react in that way. And then, obviously the Game 3 walk-off for Kevin McGonigal, first one of his career, it was just a really nice way to not only win the series against Seattle, but to bounce back from that terrible Game 2.
All right, what about you?
Well, someone brought it up in the chat, but that's where I was going to go, is Gleyber Torres and Kerry Carpenter coming back, lengthening the lineup, adding some power, and really we know Kerry Carpenter is going to, if he hits the ball, odds are he's going to hit it hard. That's fine. I mean, they needed that desperately. But let's talk about Gleyber Torres. The professional at-bats are back, the long at-bats, drawing some walks, but more importantly, all of a sudden his power stroke is looking real again, with a couple of home runs, a couple of gappers. I mean, we watched for so many weeks and months at the end of last year and beginning of this year of that weak swing where he was just getting very feeble contact, even when he got hits. This is a different guy. This is a guy who's swinging the bat pretty well. So that's a massive add to the lineup. Last time I was on the show, I stated some facts. These were facts. These weren't just off-the-wall opinions, where Kevin McGonigal, his exit velo wasn't that great. His hard hit percentage wasn't that great. Everything else was great, don't get me wrong, but I was just wondering, where is some of that? Where has some of that been? It was like he was listening, though I'm sure he was not. But all of a sudden, he started hitting the ball really hard, and the difference is there. The Mike brought up the big hit to a home run. He just missed another home run today. If the power comes this year for Kevin McGonigal, my gosh, that's going to be really something to see. So hopefully he keeps heading in that direction. And then, a third thing, it's one moment in time, but Colt Keith hitting that home run today, that big smile he had going around second base, you just don't see that every day. And of course, the silent treatment's always fun to see that in the dugout. So that was a in an 11-0 drubbing with a lot of highlights. That was a pretty good one.
Yeah, and they haven't really, considering that they got swept by the Twins earlier in the year. It was a great satisfaction of seeing a spanking of sorts. Before I get to my three, Ted, he asked about any update on Javi. He's been moved to the 60-day IL to make room for James Outlaw. I have a lot of things about this Outlaw thing because I don't understand why. Pardon me?
Outman.
Outman.
Terrible
Sorry,
baseball name.
Yeah,
I like Outlaw better.
Yeah, Outlaw. I think I called him. Yeah, during Woodward, I think I called him Outlaw. Outman, James Outman.
We're gonna call him the Outhouse, probably.
Yeah, the Outhouse. But I don't understand the logic. I don't understand the reason behind it. You're basically telling Trey Cruz, "Hey, your advanced metrics are not good down in Toledo. Sorry, but no." And then you're telling Corey Jukes the same thing, and you're telling Ben Malgeri. But Mike, you know almost what name I almost said there. But yeah, you're telling those guys that you don't believe in them, and you went outside of that. So I don't understand it. Thomas, I'm with you on that comment there. You said it was another a crappy signing. I would agree with you on that. But the three things I saw, number one was Cole Keith looking like the entire world was off his shoulders on that home run today. But he also had a sharp single. He played a decent third. As Ashley mentioned earlier, the defense, Kevin McGonigal yesterday was really, really good on third base. But what I did see was what gave me pause for concern a little bit is what they're going to do with this the bullpen. And the reason why I mentioned the bullpen is Bo Brisky's still doesn't look 100%. You still need to get a swing and miss guy. And the series, and also with Framber, I would say the fourth thing really, and lastly is what version of Framber is going to be happening here in the next month or so, because as Mike pointed out, I'm with you, Mike. I think they've dug themselves a little too much of a hole, and it is good to see him win 3 straight series. And I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer or anything, but Chicago is playing their asses off, and Braden Montgomery came up the other night. He had that home run. The White Sox are, of course, one series at a time. You got Cleveland, then you got Houston, then they come home, they play the White Sox, but do they have enough to keep up with the White Sox? And you have the 54 odd games till the trade deadline. So even as they continue to win, you also have to. You're relying on way too much other things. You have to rely on Cleveland not doing well. You have to rely on the White Sox kind of falling off, and you expect the White Sox are playing over their heads right now. Is that going to continue to happen? We'll see. So there's just. A lot of things under control. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, you brought up Framber Valdez. I don't really understand it. It just feels like, is this the real Framber Valdez? Will the real Framber Valdez please stand up? He has by far the worst the highest fly ball rate of his entire career. It's not even close. The rest of his career. I don't know if they tweaked something. I don't know if this was him trying to do something different. But he literally is a ground ball pitcher that is getting more fly balls than ever, and that is not good. That's not why you signed him to that crazy high money. He's the highest paid left-hander in baseball, right? He earned the highest paid annual value for a left-handed pitcher, and he's not doing what he's always done. I'm not like hitting the panic button on Valdez, but that is very alarming. It's definitely worth looking at.
And it is worth looking at, too. The Bada Boom Bada Bing brought up Nolan Jones being traded from Cleveland to Chicago. Chicago traded reunited Derek Hill back with the guy who drafted him back in 2014. Dave Dombrowski was traded to Philadelphia. So Chicago being like, it is weird to see a couple trades before the actual deadline. Yeah. Meanwhile, the Tigers signed the guy from the Brewers who is a career area of 5 and Ted said it. It's a cautionary tale of Dodger prospects. He had 23 home runs, had a really good year, and then buckus ever since. Cooper, go ahead. I'm sorry, you were going to say something.
Became an Outman.
No, I wasn't. But going back to Framber, obviously, I know it doesn't take a genius to see this. He's over the middle of the plate a lot.
Yeah, I mean, somebody mentioned that in the Lightning Fisher mentioned that earlier. Like, spot on. Yeah.
I mean, it's just patently obvious. I mean, he'll be up 0-2, and I just don't see how he's leaving a ball right, dead nuts over the plate. It's hard to believe.
Yeah, it makes no sense. And a lot of time, like I was saying this earlier, I think it's a lot to do with the mental part of the game or something. I don't know what it is up here that it just, and also the one thing about the Seattle series too, when the whole shenanigans with Josh Naylor was going on, and then they kept going to him, and Vander's smiling, and like all of a sudden, it is kind of like a weird thing to see him continue to be so hated. But then you see some of the starts. It's like it's either Jekyll or Hyde. It's either 1 run or less or 4 runs. And so, but speaking of no runs, Montero today, another strong start for him, another quality start. He's had 6 starts, 5 of which he's allowed 2 runs or less. And so I'm gonna lead you guys to this next question before we get to inside numbers. The 6-man rotation idea that Hinch talked about on the ticket yesterday, I believe it was. That's the idea. He's going to run with the 6-man rotation. I'll start with you, Ashley. What is your 6-man Tiger rotation looking like? Because I'm going to give you have to choose. There's no you can't BS your way out of this. So
right. Well, I would like to I actually think I brought this up our last podcast. Remember we talked about this, and
I wasn't. I'm sorry, I wasn't.
What if they do a 6-man rotation like Seattle's been doing? Are we assuming? Well, Scooble's coming back this weekend. Mize is expected back. What is it? Sunday?
Sunday, yeah, Sunday, yeah.
Coming? Okay, so we're assuming. Okay, so Scooble, Mize, probably Valdez after that, naturally, right? Melton, Montero, Flaherty for me, maybe. I mean, I don't know if they're going to stick Flaherty at the end of the rotation, but that would be what I would think, right? Because like I talked about last week, Melton doing what he's doing, not just how well he's pitching, but the fact that he's eating up innings. And with how consistent Montero's been, I don't see a way you could take either of them out of the rotation.
Okay. Mike.
I have weird feelings about this. Now, this is in my world. This is not in the real world. I don't really know how often I live in reality, but I understand that this is not a reality. I love the idea of putting. Is there any way we could convince Jack Flaherty to take a bullpen role? He literally, the thing he does best is literally what our bullpen lacks. He gets a ton of strikeouts. Imagine if you just put it all on the line for a ton of strikeouts. He's the odd man out. We end up having JV take the 6th spot because I don't think JV is at a point where he would do that. So when JV comes back and we have JV, so that would put JV as number 6, and then you'd have Carter Montero, you'd have Troy Melton, Valdez, Scooble, and Casey Mize. Now, I do not think there's a chance in hell that this actually happens, so maybe it's pointless for me to even bring it up. But, he is, and now granted, you are taking the best strikeout starter you have, right? And maybe there's obviously ramifications of that. But, damn it, it just, he'd fit kind of something that they'd need. And I thought about it a lot, all day today, and I just know it's crazy, and it would never, I don't think it'll ever happen. But if they can convince him to do that, then I think that's what ends up happening. I don't think, I really think we have to just expect JV to have a spot in this rotation at some point.
Yeah, as much as it's not, it's really, really kind of Flaherty's FIP, by the way, is 2.95 or something like that. So Flaherty has pitched better than he's indicated, his K per 9.
Sure.
Yeah, and that helps. And so, but as Deadly Ninja B said, 5 innings, maybe 4 or 5 innings tops.
Exactly. He's not stretching out, and I think what Ashley said is important. How do you take Kiner Montero out, who, in terms of qualified pitchers on the Tigers, has the highest WAR on the team in terms of starting pitchers, and how do you take out Troy Melton, who's dominating? I think it would do a disservice to both of them putting them into the bullpen. I don't know how you do it. So
I think with Flaherty, the problem is this is year 2 of his contract, right? He's a free agent.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Where does he feel he's going to make more money next year as a mid-level starter? If he improves a little bit down the stretch, or as a good reliever? I mean, what's his best business move? Sad that has to factor into it as well. I mean,
I love it. Oh my God, people are agreeing with me. I thought I was straight crazy, y'all. I feel a little more validated. I don't think it ever is going to happen, guys. Like really, but
yeah, I don't.
It's interesting to think about.
Yeah, I mean, you would want another swing and miss guy in the bullpen, but I don't think. Yeah, it's not. It's if we're looking at this realistically, as from a solid, objective point of view, it is a good problem to have, but also a bad problem to have because you also still have to figure out, well, what about the swing and miss guy in the bullpen? That's going to give him a couple extra innings because Ty Madden is still adjusting to that role. Yooper, what is your rotation looking like?
Well, I'll cut right to it. I would move Melton into the bullpen, and he looked pretty good last year when he had his opportunities. I think his stuff might play up in shorter outings, maybe getting 2 innings or maybe one trip through the order behind Flaherty, that kind of thing. I think being the youngest guy, being an arm they want to protect, a guy who's already been hurt this year for a while, I could see them doing that and not put him through the stress of an entire season in the rotation, and then just go with those other 6 guys as their starters.
Do we have a date on when Verlander's coming back?
Not yet. I think they're kind of playing it by ear of like he's supposed to be back sometime next week. I think the time of IL is coming up next week or something like to that effect. But
just threw a start yesterday.
Yeah, so he would be scheduled to start again. Yesterday? So Tuesday. Okay, so sorry, I was trying to think of the
a couple of the guys.
They have an off day, so Wednesday.
Yeah.
A couple of people in the chat are mentioning it, and it's so true. Lots of teams over the last decades have had these grandiose ideas of 6-man rotations, and the injured list spits in the eye of that idea. Because you're looking at Casey Mize, and this is he had a great start last time out. I think he was on 19 days rest because he was coming from his last injury. And then he had a couple of good starts, and now he's coming out again this week. He'll probably be on about 20 days rest again, so he'll probably have a good outing, but hard to build a 6-man rotation around that.
And the thing I also consider, though, he has to stay healthy because he's a free agent. I mean, you think about it this way. You want to prove the team the next, whether it's Detroit or whomever he decides to sign with, that he can go out there and get a multi-year deal. And so for him, the incentive is there. I mean, it's just, to me, it's like, if he goes out there, go ahead.
Sorry, no, I'd finish your thought. I
was going to say the one thing that he needs to do is just go out there and have that FIP that he's been having, those numbers he's been having, because that splitter right now has been the best version of his pitch so far, and it's in terms of strikeout percentage and everything. He's up a K per 9 from last year. Go ahead, Ashley.
Honestly, I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I was listening to you that I forgot. So must not have been important.
And this is what AJ and I are on the same page about this. Yeah, his FIP has been so yeah.
Oh, now I remember what I was going to say. Sorry, I knew it was about Jack. I feel like too, besides just the FIP, it seems like the starts have been a lot better lately. It seems like he's, kind of on the rise a little bit. So I feel like you take him out of that role and you put him into the bullpen, that's an adjustment. So like if he's doing well, do you really want to take him out of the rotation, put him into the bullpen? Thinking about it, from like the front office standpoint, not from like what we want, but like from the front office, you really want to yank a guy who's doing well.
I mean, the way I look at it is he's the guy you're definitely not going to have in the room next year. Like he's not going to be here next year, so you get whatever use you can. Like I don't disagree with what you're saying, but from a front office standpoint, I don't want to have to have Jack Flaherty in my starting rotation at the expense of a young guy like Hyder Montero or Troy Melton, who need experience and who need innings. So that is my thought process. Again, I don't think this is going to happen, but that's what I'm.
Well, I hate to say this too, but this is all like hinging upon everybody stays healthy. And do I feel like everybody's going to stay healthy? Unfortunately not. I feel like there's bound to be something.
Hinch said in the interview, he said, we'll do it to the end of June. So I think that's literally what he's doing. He's just like, this is what we're going to do for a little bit. Let's see how we're doing at the end of June. Is everybody still going to be healthy? Is one guy going to drop off the face of the earth and, obviously be the guy that needs to be out, I think he's going to reassess it real soon, a couple weeks.
Yeah. And right now, as it stands, they're gonna have to have their best horses out every 5 days, and one of them is being Scooble, and we'll get to that in a second. But first things first, let's go into inside the numbers. Just as soon as it's been a while since I pulled this up. Oh, here we go. All right, so Uper, I'll start with you. What's your inside numbers this week?
Well, it's so interesting. We just had a little conversation about 6-man rotation because that is where the numbers I brought are about. The Tigers, if you look at the Tigers overall, throw the record away. The team was supposed to be built around their starting pitching this year. The number I have right now is 5, and the other is 57. So 5 is the number of innings Tiger starters are not pitching. They're just a shade under 5 innings per start right now. They're fluctuating between 14th and 18th in the league. And they've thrown 57% of all the innings, the starters. That's also right around 16th to 18th in the league, depending on the day you look. So it's interesting that a team that was, supposed to be built around their vaunted starting pitching, kind of middle in the pack in terms of how much they're pitching. And I wonder, what does a 6-man rotation do to that, these stats in particular? Do you see with the extra rest, all of a sudden these starts that were 4 2/3 or 5 innings, are they going to be able to get 6 and 6 1/3 out of everybody far more often? I'd be interested to know what your opinion is on that, Raj.
That's a good question, because I think that if you look at, like, for example, Montero's being able to go out there and give them 6 consistently, I think if they could pull this off, comparatively speaking, because of pitching chaos, I think it helps them. And I mean, look at pitching chaos last year to a certain extent. It was their offense that really did help them in the playoffs. So. But when they have their start, I think it this way. I think if they have their starters going 6 innings, that will allow them to have the ability to do their matchups better each and every time. And whereas they're not going to get exposed. For example, they don't have to put Brisky out there for the sake of putting Brisky out there. So I think health-wise, I like the idea of preserving Melton. I mean, you got to go out there and pitch. I'm not saying be scared and not throw these guys out there. I'm not saying that, but at the same time, you also have to think about, Melton's coming off an injury. You have Mize, who's coming, hasn't been exactly healthy. So, yeah, be close to playing it safe than sorry, and at least in my opinion. So that's the way I look at it. And I think I'd love to see I'll have to look. That's a deep dive article to look at. See, like, comparatively speaking, how is Seattle? Is this sustainable for Seattle too? Because Seattle's, it's another. Yeah, I know they were getting kind of used to it too, but if you think about it, how is it? Just within the mid '90s, we were in a 4-man rotation. Is that about right? So third, I mean, the evolution from a 4-man to 5-man rotation took that long. Is a 6-man rotation going to be a future? It kind of is right now, isn't it? Sort of, in a way, with the bullpen starts and all that, and openers, and
it can be.
Yeah. So no, no. Go ahead.
What I'm interested in is how, if they commit to this, and we get enough data to really look at it, and looking at Seattle would make sense too. The third time through the order penalty. Now, doesn't matter if you're in a 5-man rotation or a 6-man rotation. It shouldn't anyway. The third time through the order penalty is still what it is. But if you're pitching on a little extra rest, does that mitigate some of that? So I'm going to be interested to follow those kind of numbers too.
Yeah, especially especially when you have as Michael mentioned, their next day out. They have the 18th. They have the 18th off, and then they're not off again until July 3rd. So that's going to be it'll be interesting to see that. Mike, what is your insider number?
So I always like to highlight at least one player here, and I'm going for 6.8 is mine. That is the pace that Dylan Dingler is on F4 wise for the entire year.
Nice.
The only other catcher that the Tigers have ever had to have any WAR season better than that.
Wait, are you asking?
Yeah, you got anybody know who's the only other catcher? The only catcher to have higher than 6.8 WAR in a single season in Tigers history.
Lance Parrish?
Nope.
No, wait, no, that's not right. No, Mickey Cochran.
What?
This was according. Maybe my list was wrong, but I saw it was Bill Freehan in 1968.
Oh, that makes okay. That makes perfect sense. I'm not even like Bill Freehan. That makes perfect sense.
Right up there. Like they're all like 6+, I believe. But Dylan Dingler is technically on pace for the second highest WAR season of any Tigers catcher in history. We have to just really realize how I don't know. It's incredible to see Dylan Dingler, what he's been doing. So this is all for Fangraphs. He has a 9.7 defensive rating, highest in all of baseball by 2.6. This is by catchers with at least 150 plate appearances. I lowered it to give him more competition. He's still number one. JT Realmuto, number 2 at 7.1. So he is significantly out of the pack there defensively. Offensively, the only 2 catchers in all of baseball with at least 150 plate appearances who are better than him are Drake Baldwin and Shea Langeliers.
Damn.
He is the 3rd best offensive catcher this year and the 1st best defensive catcher. It's just he's tied with Nick Kurtz for 6th highest F4 in all of baseball and for position players. And by the way, Kevin McGonigal is 9th with 2.7.
Nice.
But right now he has 2.9. I don't know if I mentioned that. On pace for that 6.8. It's insane. And I just want to make sure that we all realize that he really could have a truly special season. And I don't even care what happens. I can't wait to see how Dylan Dingler's season ends up.
Yeah, no, that's a good one right there. And Dingler has also been hitting the ball everywhere. He's just becoming an all around, just between the power, but just hitting with singles, and his value is endless. And so it's fun to see. What were we gonna say, Huber?
Well, I was wondering a couple of things. Do you think, Mike, Dingler not getting the rest of a lot of catchers because he's DHing almost every day that he doesn't catch, does that catch up with him over the long haul? Or is he just athletic enough he's going to get that done?
Yeah, and he's young enough. He's fine. He's only been doing this a couple years in the big leagues. Like, I'm in jest, but like, I'm kind of serious. This is a perfect time to do it. If he was even a couple years older, I might say maybe, but like, damn, you're feeling good. You're hitting the ball well. I think that he has a perfect chance to chill, be the all-star starter catcher in the all-star game, and he'll have a good break, and he'll just come right back at it. In fact, I like it just because I know that some people don't think that there's a ton of momentum in sports, but I do think that sometimes you got to keep playing the hot guy, and he's got a hot bat right now. I want him to keep playing every day. I love that he's DHing to keep the bat hot while he's not catching.
By the way, just to answer the question, Jones is not going to be DFA'd because Baez has moved to the 60-day IL to make room for Outman. That's how that's going to happen. So Baez is going to move to the 60-day IL. So just a heads up on that. Ashley, what was your insider number?
Mine's a little off, different than everybody else's, I suppose. So first of all, let me bring this up, and then I will give you my inside the number. Do we think Tarek Skubal stays with us, or do we think he gets traded?
Oh,
I think he's staying. I will say that until they prove me otherwise. I think he's staying no matter what.
What do you guys think?
I think if Scott Harris is able to create a big enough of a buzz of a bidding war, no matter how this team is doing, they got to do it. I mean, if they can name their price and extract at least 2 top 50 prospects, top 100 prospects, plus some other spare parts, I think you got to do it. Because I don't see this team as constituted winning the World Series.
I agree with that. What do you think, Raj?
Sorry, I was just getting distracted with the Javi move. Was the 40-man move, but as far as 60-man, I think do you put him on the roster or just put him down to AAA?
Oh yeah, I don't think they can put him at AAA. He doesn't have any options, and I think it was he was in the majors, so he's got to be on the major league club, right?
Wow.
I don't know.
I don't know. If why Jones, even you're trading, you're literally there's no difference between the two. You can't hit lefties, so what are you doing? It doesn't make any sense. So anyway, as far as the answer to that question, Ashley, it's a trade deadline. If the Tigers are within striking distance of a wild card, then I think he stays. But if he doesn't, then you do what you got to do and get a haul similar to what the White Sox got for Garrett Crochet. Simple as that. I mean, I don't. You're looking at a farm system right now. Why is Altman? Okay, I'm getting distracted by the chat. I'm gonna look at it because I don't. Why is he heading to Cleveland? It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Why is he on this roster? I don't even want to get into it. Anyway, sorry.
There's someone hurt we don't know about.
Yeah, exactly. Unless somebody is hurt, that the bias thing. Okay, if they put him in the IL, that was the first part of that. So if there's somebody else that's going to be on the IL, I don't know yet. We'll see. I had not, like I said, to be perfectly honest with you, the last week at my day job has been insane, and I've been watching Tigers every time. Like I've been watching Tigers afterwards, but this marks the first time in a long time that I have not been really 300 million% in baseball. I've been at 110% in baseball. It's fallen like the minor league stuff. Like Ashley, I was sending some videos to Ashley yesterday of this graduation. This graduation took months to plan, and it was a pain in the ass. But no, in a good way, in a very good way. And these kids that I work with got to graduate, and they're all happy. Anyway, no, Skubal, if you can get a haul for Skubal, get him. Especially when now Ohtani left the game with left knee inflammation. Dodgers might be so susceptible to James Tibbs. Don't fall to the Dodgers trap, of course. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, because I know it's been kind of around everywhere, right? Everybody's been talking about, are they going to trade Skubal? Are they not going to trade Skubal? I know a lot of people talking about the Dodgers being a landing spot for him. So my number is 2 and 8, and I don't have a third number yet. Looking at the Dodgers prospect list, I'll take number 2. I'll take Zaire Hope, and I'll take number 8. I'll take Jackson Ferris, left-handed pitcher, who should be pretty close to the major leagues. I haven't decided on a third yet. I'm still kind of going through there, but yeah, those are my numbers. Those are the guys who I would be interested in us getting for Skubal should they make a trade with the Dodgers.
I like it. And I think the one thing that, sorry, my dog is now also my dog wants to get into the action. And like I'm sitting there, people wonder what the hell I'm doing with my left hand. And it's literally my dog, Lucy, come here, Lucy. Yeah, see, she wants her butt scratches right now. So
she just wants to be a part of it.
Yeah, she wants to be
a part of it.
She's a producer. She's back there most of the time sleeping, but she doesn't want. And then somehow
she has a human hand.
Yeah,
I did see her. I saw her like crawl and almost be out of view, but I could see her over your shoulder, which made it way funnier.
I noticed that too.
Just see like a little bit right above your shoulder, and
yeah. My wife's just like scratching her head right now, and but anyway, so my insider number, everybody can see you. My insider number is 270, 363, and 568, and that's one JJ Bidet. They're on a team, and I got this from Fangraphs. Michael Bowman did a Bayman. Sorry. The reason why I'm mentioning him is because JJ Bidet was a guy that was in part of that Riley Green draft, and his numbers have been inconsistent. But the fact that he's been able to, he's not a guy, and actually, I mean, in terms of a corner outfielder, he doesn't have like nothing, those tools that really stood out even when he was at Vanderbilt. So the fact that it just seems like in part-time duties, be able to do what he's doing, WRC plus of 120, it's the Tigers don't get this kind of luck when they pick up waiver wire wonders, kind of like that. I think that's just kind of like a thing. But the reason why I wanted to point that out is because he is, in terms of like his numbers, he's pulling 52% of his batted balls. So it puts him on top 10 all hitters with 150 or more plate appearances. So he's up. His pulled air rate is up too, which bodes well. And this is something when you look in the minors, when you start seeing players that start hitting the ball up in the air more consistently, that's a good sign when they get to the big league level. So, by the way, Bada Boom Bada Bing has history prospects. He says Luis Laura, Andrew Fisher, and yeah, that's a really good.
I love that one. I tell you, just last week I put on Twitter something very similar. I said Luis Laura, Andrew Fisher, or Luis Pena. Any two of those three guys plus a couple spare parts, that's a win for the Tigers. Now, I think that the Brewers signed Lara to a 7-year extension while he's still in Double-A or whatever, or Triple-A. So maybe that means they're not moving him. They might take him off that list. But now Luis Pena is a hell of a hitter.
Yeah. Some of us were worried about his height a little bit, but the guy can, like, Laura can hit. So seeing some with the numbers he's been able to put up. Yeah. But the Brewers also are really good at developing pitching in terms of getting guys miles per hour velocity. That would be intriguing to me because the Tigers right now, I did the research on this the other night. They only have 3 pitchers right now, 3, and one of them is injured that can throw over 100 miles an hour right now. Moises Rodriguez, Marco Jimenez, who's on the IL, and I think Zach Lee's up there like 99 to 100. That's it. I mean, I'm dead serious. Like, I can't think of anybody like pending any FCL guys or Dominican guys, but I don't see that currently right now. So
you almost have to believe that they have a system-wise belief that they don't care about that.
No, they don't. They care more about extension. Yeah. I was talking to Brian Sakowski. I was talking to one of our mutual friends, Brian Sakowski, was talking to, and they were talking about that. Mm-hmm. They have a profile type right now, and velocity is not it. Why? I don't know. They don't believe it can help them.
Wow.
I don't know. So that's kind of like it was just interesting to me how they're approaching that right now because they've been able to get any return on investment on their profile now. Am I right? I mean, they haven't really had, it's been converted starters into relievers right now at this point.
Right.
I mean, you used to have the occasional Bruce Rondon, the international reliever, like somebody like come up like that, but they haven't had that in a while now.
No.
So it's like I'm trying to think about this. Like all the relievers have been just guys that have seen like high mileage relievers.
Yeah.
Ground ball pitchers for people with funky motions.
Yeah. And they're not even doing that. To me, is like I look at like the Twins had 4 or 5 different guys with different angles, and Seattle was another prime example of that too. Seattle had a really good job of different RA angles and how they approached their bullpen. So
I think the Rays did that one year too. They did like the around the clock thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, and AJ, that's a good one right there. Gregory Soto comes to mind.
That's all-star Gregory Soto.
Yeah, Gregory Soto, all-star. Joe Jimenez technically wasn't an international signing. I think he was like undrafted signing out of Puerto Rico, I believe. So, but still, it's few and far between. But so to end out the podcast, I wanted to mention the Tigers series against Cleveland. So Derek Skubal's coming back Saturday, as Ashley mentioned. The trade fuel begin, but Jack Flaherty goes on Friday. Sunday starter. Is that going to be? Mize? It'll be Mize. So Mize will be the scheduled starter. But Tanner Bibby against the Nationals out like 3 home runs not too long ago. It was like he looks hittable. So I'm gonna ask you guys this question to end the podcast. What are the 3 keys to victory this weekend against Cleveland? I'll start with you, Ashley.
Defense.
Defense, okay.
Defense, I think, because Cleveland also plays a very clean brand of baseball. And I feel like with the hits that they get, with the BABIP that works in their favor, your defense has to be on point with them. B, I feel like knocking the starters out early, which I feel like is kind of like a key for mostly everybody, right? But knocking the starters out, getting to their bullpen, hopefully maybe tiring out their bullpen would be great. And 3, I would say continue hitting home runs.
Yep.
Continue hitting home runs, because I feel like the Tigers haven't been super big with like the situational baseball, right? With like the small ball this year. So continue on the trend of what you've been doing, which is slugging. Keep slugging.
Yeah. To chicks dig the long ball. And
well, we'll say even a 4th, right? Let our starters eat up a lot of innings. Don't let Cleveland see our bullpen.
Yeah, all that's 100% accurate there. All right, Yooper, what about you?
Yeah, I was gonna, when Ashley mentioned home runs, I was gonna say extra base hits. I mean, you tell me right now, each game, which team had the most extra base hits, that's probably your winner, right? So the Tigers are in good shape there. They're swinging the bats well, hitting it hard. They're in a stadium where, you know, you can hit some home runs in Cleveland. So we'll see how this goes, but I think if Spencer Torkelson and especially Kerry Carpenter can have a hot weekend, the Tigers will be just fine. You know, Skubal's start, I think he's the guy who can handle it. I mean, that's a lot of pressure. When a team is 11 games under 500, their stud is coming back from injury, hasn't pitched in 6 weeks. You're plunking him on the mound in your biggest rival's stadium and saying, hey, lead us to victory today. How many innings does he have in him that first night out? Is he going to go 6 innings? You know, can he go more than that? I kind of doubt it. You got to believe he's capped somewhere, but around 5 or 6 innings. So that Saturday game is going to be the key of how this series goes. And, you know, Dylan Dingler, can he be the king of Ohio, the Ohio native? You know, I bet he would love to put his stamp on this series and at least be the driving force to win one of these games.
Yeah, could be close to home for him. I think he was in I can't remember. Someone searched that name. I can't remember it. Massillon. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That's so yeah, this will be the definitely coming home for him. Mike, what about you?
Well, I last week heard some rumblings that Skubal might be starting in Cleveland. I read it could be Friday, it could be Saturday. So I bought tickets, and I'm going tomorrow, not Saturday. I picked the wrong day.
Oh, really?
Sad about it, but that's okay. I'm going to the game, so I'll be there for that. Parker Messick versus, or not Parker Messick. No, we're missing Parker in this series. Thank God. Bybee and Flaherty. So the thing about Bybee, he in Tigers in May, I know May was a lot different. He went 8 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts, and a walk against the Tigers. And he has one other 8-inning game. It was the last outing he just had against Texas, which I also believe was Cleveland's last win. He went 8 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, no runs. It's actually his first win of the year. That worries me. I think that's going to be a huge pitching matchup. What version of him are we going to see? And so number 2, I am looking at Travis Bazzana versus Kevin McGonigal, 2 real legit threats to the Rookie of the Year race. And actually, I keep seeing graphics. The top 5 odds, the top 5 dudes in odds for the Rookie of the Year in the American League are all in the American Central. You have Bazzana, Parker Messick, Murakami, and then Kevin McGonigal. And I feel like I'm missing somebody. But
DeLauder?
I might be. Yeah, I think yeah. So like all the top 5 betting favorites are in the American League Central. It's wild. So I want to see Kevin McGonigal outduel Bazzana here in this series. I want him to look like the better rookie. Bazzana has spent less time in the majors, but he's got more power. So he's got pretty numbers, and that's another thing that I'm looking for. And then obviously, like it goes without saying, you are having 2 out of 3, or you're having 2 out of 3 of your starters are guys coming back from injuries. Scoobles is a little more significant and kind of way more interesting for obvious reasons. But like if Casey Mize is that Sunday guy, you're getting 2 guys out of injury, and I'm really curious as to how long they're going to go and how, with Flaherty only really being able to pitch 4 or 5 innings in all of his starts, it seems like, are they going to push him more? Because you're not going to expect Casey Mize or Tarek Skubal to go farther in games. How deep can your bullpen go, and how deep can they carry you in this series? So that's what I'm looking at in this series.
So one pitcher we haven't mentioned is Gavin Williams on Sunday. Did we really go into him? Yeah, and Gavin Williams is a beast, and so I think that's a game too. I think Sunday is going to be a very key game, because if they Trello hasn't really, he pitched against a 4A lineup really in May. Like we were talking about, like they haven't. This is the lineup in full strength now for the Tigers. So for Gavin Williams, though, it doesn't matter. He can go out there and shove. He's got a K/9 of 10.28, and he's better than some of his numbers indicate. So if he can get the ground ball going like he can, then that's going to bode well for Cleveland's defense too. So as Ashley mentioned earlier, the Cleveland defense does pretty well. And so I think Sunday's game is going to be a big part of to me, I think Friday can go either way. I think even to a certain, I think it's not, I think Skubal's going to go out there and shove Saturday, but Sunday is also, to me, Sunday is just as much as a coin flip as Friday is going to be, because we don't know what version of Casey Mize we're going to get. If he is the scheduled starter, if he comes back. And as Uper mentioned, yes, he has had days of rest where he's back and being effective, but there's no guarantees with that. Bada Boom Bada Ring says, do we think we trade Skubal even if we get back to first place in Central by the deadline, or at least within 2 or 3 games of first? Or do you leave the big prospect haul off the table and go for it? I think they would go.
I don't see how you don't. I don't see how you don't trade, especially, I guess, dependent upon too when Joe returns, when Olsen returns, because I feel like if you can get a haul for him, I don't see how you don't.
They could have gotten a bigger haul like previously. Like he wouldn't have been coming off an injury. No, I'm just saying you keep saying I don't know how you don't. It's because Scott Harris hasn't proven that he's going to make any kind of trade like that. He has no track record of doing it whatsoever.
Or get the guy he wants.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. As I was going to say, or get the guy he wants.
Yeah, I can absolutely see it until they make a big trade. I don't know if he's got the balls for it. I'm on it.
Well, and I could see it being I could see them being like open to discussions, but like Roger said, is he going to get the guy that he wants? And I feel like Scott Harris, if he doesn't get the guy that he wants, he's not going to make the trade.
Yeah, and we've heard this before, that he has been kind of a pain in the ass to deal with trades, allegedly. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say that for sure. So
we always let one guy off the hook in these conversations, and if the Tigers are tied for first place or even within 3 games, whatever, at the trade deadline, but they have the offer on the table, the big offer is there. Does Chris Ilitch sign off on that deal? This is his team. I mean, he can say yes or no to any of that, And where was his mindset be in a scenario like that? I don't think the Tigers will get to that scenario, sadly, but it sure would be fun if they did, to see what happened.
No, I think something important. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, I think something important to think about too is, in the Skubal trading situation, say you do get, a haul that you want, right? Say you're Scott Harris, you're on the phone, you have the haul that you want. You have to think about, if you don't make this trade, is the team good enough to win the World Series anyway? No. I don't think so. So if you're not good enough to win a World Series, why are you not going to make that trade and at least help your farm system where you can? Because if you don't,
what do you
get?
We've had this argument for years. Like, obviously you haven't been around like super long, but I contend that I don't really think they are trying to win a World Series. I think that Scott Harris is completely fine having a competent baseball team. that will make the playoffs and be completely fine with that. I don't see any signs that they are going for a World Series.
But
a
even
team
at
that
that,
keeps the same offense as last year isn't trying to win the World Series, in my opinion. So that's another thing why. That's the reason he wouldn't do it, is because if you keep him and you get the draft pick, then you get something, but you still get to put butts in seats with the best pitcher in baseball, and you might make the playoffs, and you might win another wild card series like you did the last 2 years. I really think they're okay with that level of success.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
crazy. Yeah.
I agree it's crazy, but I'm just saying, based on the way that they've done things the last couple of years, until they do something else that makes them, like you said, World Series contenders, I don't know what they're doing.
Michael brings up a good question too. They're 5.5 games on the wild card. Does that matter? Just focusing on winning the division. I just think it's just getting the postseason at this point.
Yeah.
But I like what
winning the division requires Cleveland to kind of collapse and the White Sox to collapse.
Yeah, and I don't think that's happening. And
I don't see that happening.
J Rod's right though. I mean, offense is there, pitching's catching up. It's not over yet. No one's saying it's over. Nobody's saying that. What I am saying though is just like how realistic our things are. You go ahead. You have the last word.
They're 7-2 now without in this little stretch without Skubal. So they can make the argument, hey, we're going to go for it anyway. They can make other deals to add talent and still move Skubal if they get their dream package.
Yeah, they are trying to sell pizzas too. I mean, the bottom line is this: we're going to be watching some entertaining baseball the next month or so before the trade deadline, and then we have draft coverage coming up. So there's draft stuff we have coming on the way. Our draft show, I have to work on the announcement graphic on that.
Lawrence.
Yeah, but yeah, and Ashley's got somebody in mind. Healthy Tigers can compete for the World Series. Yes, they can. We'll just see what happens here in the next stretch or so. Thanks so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Check out all our stuff over at TigersMLReport.com or our Patreon. Please subscribe to our Patreon or our YouTube channel. And if you're so inclined, please donate to the website. It does go a long way. It does help with everything that we do around here. Keeps the, clocks moving. I don't know what the term I'm trying to use. I'm exhausted. But, check out everything over at TigersMLReport.com. And we'll see you next week, and have yourself a good evening and stay close, everybody.
Bye-bye.